I'm James Whitmore. The most spectacular, most violent storm on Earth is a tornado, a whirling dervish of destruction that kills or crushes everything in its path. Tornadoes can strike anywhere in the world, yet 98% occur in the United States. On April 3rd, 1964, the concentrated fury of a tornado smashed into a city of 100,000 people. This is their story, a story of survival. April 2nd, 1964. A soft spring evening in Wichita Falls. Peaceful, prosperous, typically Texas, Wichita Falls is a city founded on ranching and made rich by oil. Now it boasts 100 different industries, and of special importance and pride, Shepherd Air Force Base. At 9:45 p.m., a local television station, KAUZ, as a public service, telecasts a U.S. Weather Bureau film.
This was the sight that greeted Texans in Dallas on an afternoon in April. Tornadoes can strike anywhere. The lives of your loved ones can be saved by knowledge of tornado safety. When you see a rotating cloud like this one, go to a storm cellar. It's the safest place. No storm cellar? Then go to the corner of your basement. No basement? Then crawl under heavy furniture near an inside wall. In strong office buildings and schools, stand against an inside wall on the lower floors. In open country, move at right angles to the approaching tornado. If there is no time to escape, lie flat in the nearest ditch. Remember, knowing what to do when a tornado strikes can save your life and the lives of your loved ones. For information about tornado safety suggestions, call or write your nearest Weather Bureau office or write the Chief, United States Weather Bureau, Washington, D.C.
Just a coincidence, but 6 years ago to the day, Wichita Falls was hit by a tornado. Kansas City, midnight. The Weather Bureau's Severe Local Storm Forecasting Center issues its 24-hour outlook for the nation. Severe thunderstorm activity is likely Friday from central Texas north to the Ohio Valley. That area includes Wichita Falls. 6 a.m. The Air Force Military Weather Warning Service predicts the thunderstorm activity may be accompanied by tornadoes. By 9 a.m., reports on upper air indicate the increasing probability of thunderstorms and hailstorms over Texas. By 9:30, coded reports from all over the Southwest reinforce the earlier prediction. Converging less than 200 miles west of Wichita Falls and moving toward it are three mutually incompatible layers of air, three of the 5 factors that produce tornado-bearing thunderstorms. One layer of air, warm and moist, moving in from the Gulf of Mexico, 5,000 feet above the earth. The second, a dry layer, at 10,000 feet, well above the warm, moist air. Above them both, a layer of cold, moist air. Moments later, factor number 4 is detected, consisting of jet stream winds. If the complex of instability is further disturbed by the 5th factor, a storm front, it could, at any moment thereafter, produce a tornado. At 11 o'clock, Kansas City weathermen locate the jet streams moving on a collision course with the 3 layers of unstable air and a storm front heading in that same direction. A severe weather warning for Texas and Oklahoma is issued. Thunderstorms with damaging winds and possibility of several tornadoes expected this Friday afternoon between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. At 1:45, now less than 35 miles west of Wichita Falls, the unstable air is struck by the jet stream winds. The potentially lethal storm is born. By 2:20 p.m., now 80 miles in diameter, the thunderstorm is only 18 miles from Wichita Falls. 5 minutes later, the town of Iowa Park is pelted by hail and 50-mile-an-hour winds. Though a twister is still just a possibility, radio and television stations in the danger zone relay the warning. KAUZ-TV, mobilized to cover the approaching storm, has dispatched units to several vantage points.
Let's take a look now at these clouds as they are forming in the distance. This is looking toward the west-northwest of the Channel 6 studios. You can see a great deal of turbulence in these clouds. They're dipping, falling, and rising once again. There's also, just above the ground, quite a lot of smoke pall. I don't know what that's from. All in all, it looks now as though we might just have rather severe conditions on our hands. Now, as we have advised you on Channel 6 News, as well as Weather in Motion, there is a severe thunderstorm forecast out for the immediate Wichita Falls area and most of the Channel 6 viewing area. The severe weather forecast is in effect and will remain in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. These clouds continue to swirl about us, sometimes dipping, sometimes rising. The winds have picked up considerably in the last few minutes. We'll keep you posted as we get further information from the United States Weather Bureau. If you look down near the horizon now, John, this should be to the right of your screen. You'll see some more dust or smoke being picked up. From here it appears to be along the river bottoms. So there's a great deal of turbulence right within this area. Dee, this is, at this time, a little reminiscent of a situation we had here, I believe, back in the summer of, was it 1959? Where Channel 6 made a television first by putting on the air live a tornado. Now, we haven't seen one today. Let's hope that we don't, although we do have this report from the Weather Bureau that a tornado funnel has been spotted developing. That bulletin reads as follows: a tornado has been reported developing in the area of the Seymour Road and Highway 269. The funnel cloud, or the extreme turbulence, is moving eastward. All interests in that area have been alerted or should now be alerted to seek safety.
Unseen from the ground, the storm front has moved across the unstable air mass, already reacting violently to the jet stream attack. All 5 factors in the equation have now made contact. The trigger is fashioned that can fire a death-dealing tornado.
We just have another weather bulletin. I repeat it for you. The tornado has moved just west of the airports. It is moving between northeast and east, moving toward the Shepherd Air Force Base area. You folks out at Shepherd, please take all necessary precautions. Advise your friends and immediate neighbors. Now, can you swing around and get that, please? Oh, that is a funnel, Jack, and a big one.
This is more of the picture tornado that you see in your mind's eye when you hear the word tornado.
Within the confines of the funnel itself, we have a great pressure of precipitation, probably hail, certainly very strong rains, a lot of very, very well-packed precipitation right in the small area just to the northeast of Wichita Falls, probably more in a northerly direction. lot of confusion out in this area, not only at the station with people wondering what's going to happen, but a good many cars stopped along the Seymour Highway where this tornado funnel stands out quite well. We have only remnants of reports of damage so far. Larry Whirl, a Channel 6 newsman, is out in a news unit right now. He has reported in that there was damage to a house on the Iowa Park Road. We still don't have any reports of extent of damage. We hope there have been no injuries. I will, however, repeat this very urgent bulletin just received from the Weather Bureau. That is that this funnel is just west of the airport. It is moving between northeast and easterly in direction. Jack, now that the lighting has, for some reason or other, changed, you can see that tremendous plume of dirty brown dust and debris rising above that area. Yes, Jack?
Larry Whirl has just reported in to us that there has been heavy damage in Sunset Terrace.
Oh, good Lord.
The aftermath of a tornado looks like. It struck just moments ago in the Sunset Terrace area here in Wichita Falls. Radio station antennas were knocked down and scattered about like spaghetti. High lines are lying all over the ground. People are still trapped, many of them, in these houses as police, firemen, doctors, and nurses gather to begin to receive the injured. We saw the tornado form. It was a typical black, dark funnel. It seemed to hover over Sunset Terrace. There was a new grocery store behind me. There's nothing left of it now, just a few canned goods scattered about. Automobiles are tossed around like matchsticks. These people are waiting to be evacuated from what once was a family housing development in Wichita Falls.
In its 25-minute lifetime, the tornado traveled 5.5 miles along a path 300 yards wide at ground point. Inside the funnel, winds were whirling at speeds up to 500 miles an hour. Not one thing in the path has escaped damage or destruction. Among the casualties is one man injured by a glass window, or maybe a trash can lid. He isn't sure which. One teenager, caught alone during the tornado, weeps with joy. She finds her family safe. Someone's pet, windblown, battered, wet, and angry. Rescue and relief activities continue through the brief hours of remaining daylight. The Red Cross, Civil Defense, and the Salvation Army provide emergency food and shelter. Church groups undertake to provide clothing.
This is the first major residential area hit by the tornado. Nothing is left of these 2- and 3-bedroom homes but bare walls, in some cases not even that. The people who once lived here are doing their very best to sift through what the tornado left them and come up with something, anything, that they can salvage. It's a pretty grim sight. As we drive through what once was the northwest side of Sunset Terrace in Wichita Falls, Texas, you can see what horrible damage was actually done as this full-blown Texas twister roared through the residential area. The houses, the roofs, the personal belongings, a fire plug lying beside the street, children's toys, pets, curtains, door frames, a steam iron. This was Sunset Terrace, Wichita Falls. We are standing directly across the Burke-Burnett Highway from what used to be a portion of Shepherd Air Force Base. The damage is, well, it's just unbelievable. Air Force personnel with rifles are beginning to approach the scene to guard against the inevitable result of a catastrophe such as this, the looting.
Airmen have been injured, 50 buildings destroyed or heavily damaged. But of the hundreds of aircraft at the base, only 3 have been damaged. The base commander, Major General Robert Stillman, makes a statement.
I'm not taking advantage of your presence here to ask for sympathy. Actually, we're in pretty good shape in spite of the tremendous destruction that was wrought here. But I did want to take this opportunity to express our appreciation to the people of Wichita Falls and the surrounding community for their wonderful offers of assistance and help. We expected and we received immediate support and assistance from our headquarters and from the other military bases in the community. But frankly, I was quite surprised at the immediate response of the civilians in the community to try to come out and help us. In spite of the way the area appears, we're in pretty good shape. We have water, our telephones are working, we have gas, and we hope that the power will be back in on the majority of the base by tonight. So we don't need outside help, but we very much appreciate the willingness and the thoughtfulness to the people of Wichita Falls to come out and give us a hand.
Where did you ride this tornado out, sir?
In the cellar right over there.
That was just about, what, 100 feet away from you?
Uh-huh.
How long of a time were you in there?
I'd say 20 minutes.
Was anyone else in there with you?
There's 21 of us in there.
What was the reaction in there when this thing was going on?
Of course, the women was pretty frantic, and the door went off. The door blew off. There's three of us holding it, but it went off anyhow, and it just disintegrated. And then debris just come down in there, and we had to push the women on the floor.
Were you very scared at this time?
No, not necessarily. I knew it was serious, but personally, I wasn't scared.
How about the rest of the people in there?
Yes, they were frightened. I think all of them were. Now, I wasn't feeling at ease.
Were they buried in the house or what?
One man was buried completely under the rubbish, and we cleared the roof off of him, and the doorway was underneath the door frame, and that's what saved him, I believe. He had his legs pinned underneath the sofa, and we lifted the sofa off of him and then put him in a trailer. And he kept looking for his little boy, but we found out that his boy was in school when it happened.
And where do you work, Eugene?
Work at the hospital.
Here at Shepherd Air Force Base?
Yes, sir.
Is this your car?
Yes, sir, it is.
What happened to it?
Well, I was coming down the highway here and could see this wind and paper and all coming up the roof. And I parked across the street by Virgil Evans, excuse me. And the trailer next to Evans went, then Evans went. The last thing I remember is seeing Virgil Evans' liquor store go up, and me just going up in the air and going end over end. This is where I ended up at.
You were right in the middle of the tornado then?
Yes, sir. I presume I was.
Could you actually feel yourself physically turning around in the car?
Yes, I could. I presume it took me up in the air first because I felt a tremendous bump. And then I just went end over end, and this is where I come to rest at.
Well, the car is completely demolished, Eugene. How in the world did you get out alive?
Well, that's hard to say. It's just one of those miracles, I guess. Certainly was a miracle to come out of this thing alive, as bad as it looks.
What were your thoughts? Could you think about anything when this was happening to you?
Just praying, that was all. I just knew I was going to go, simple as that. Certainly scared.
Congressman Purcell, you've just finished a tour here of the devastation that's occurred here at Shepherd Air Force Base. Could you give us your impressions of what you've seen, sir?
Well, it's hard to express the devastation that is present. I've seen several tornadoes in my lifetime, but I certainly have never seen anything compared with this kind of damage. The damage for the area of the base that has been struck seems to me absolute total. Fortunately, there's not been any more loss of life, but the damage in dollars runs into the millions. And of course, the loss on the civilian economy is just as heavy, and it's certainly the most significant, most tragic tornado that our area's had, and we're in the area that has lots of tornadoes.
The morning sun over Wichita Falls looks down on a strip of destruction, 3 football fields wide, stretching nearly 6 miles through the north end of town. The havoc that was wreaked in only 25 minutes gives fresh proof, if any is needed, that a tornado truly is the most violent, most concentrated storm on Earth. Yet the death toll was limited to but 7. The loss in life would surely have been much greater if the Weather Bureau tornado safety film had not been shown on KAUZ TV the night before. A lucky coincidence? It's not to be discounted. Man needs luck, as well as strength and courage in his never-ending battle to survive.